Hello, folks, and welcome. The Universal Order Show, Episode 3, is about to begin. I'm your host, the Bronx Paladin. How you doing? With me today is a warrior from our guild. Been here for a very long time, on and off. I look forward to learning about him, hearing the reasons for the gaps in between, and I hope all of you enjoy the show. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce from the Universal Order Guild, Kessik. How you doing, man?
Season's greetings, greetings.
Oh man, so thank you very much for agreeing to do this and sharing your time with us.
Absolutely.
Let's get to know a little bit about you. So, where did the name Kessik come from?
When I first started playing video games, I was like 10, 11 years old, and I think my first game I ever played was RuneScape Online. And I just kept punching in names until I came up with it. It was just, I wanted something with a K because my name is Chris, and I just kept trying it.
Okay, so you were doing random things just to include the name K, but the actual name Kessik doesn't have any significance.
No, not at the time. It was just, I wanted something original that sounded like a name and not, like a name and a bunch of numbers or something like that.
Okay. As said when I was introducing you, you have been playing for a very long time, and you were in the guild back in the Crusade. Then there was a moment where it was during Serpent Shrine, I believe, where you had left. But before we get into that, how long have you been playing?
Probably about since 2006. It was just when the Burning Crusade first came out, I really started getting into it. I played a little bit of vanilla, but I was still leveling up. My friend turned me on to it and wanted me to play, and being just a kid still, I didn't really have a computer, so I had to do all that. And I just started getting into it.
All right. Is this server where you started?
Yes, when the Burning Crusade first came out, this was like the new server, and my friend wanted to play on the new server because things were sparkling and new. So
Did either you of your friend wanted to play here because the server was new or because it had the RP tag?
I think it was just because it was new. I didn't really know what role playing was at the time. I was still fairly new to video games, so I didn't really understand it.
Okay. What guilds, since you were here for so long, what guilds were you a part of, if you can remember, before the Universal Order?
I mean, pretty much the same ones that you were in. We were in Onslaught together, and then it turned into Elegy, and
Mm-hmm.
then after that, we started Universal Order.
Well, here's a bonus question. Do you remember the guild leaders of either of those guilds?
Yes, I do. Thou who shall not be named. The first one was Menace and
Very
his
good,
buddy
very good.
Intense, and after that broke up, it was Black Omen and his girlfriend Ophidia or something like that.
Ophidian. Yeah, very close. Yep. So, yeah, back in the day, like I said, it was Menace with Menace's guild. And God, I have so many stories back then. And then we went to Black Omen's guild, and then they had stopped playing for I can't remember what they were playing. Something to do with Warhammer, I believe. And
Yeah,
everybody was just
Warhammer
sitting around
3.
like, "What do we do?" And so I made the guild. Um, Also, as I had mentioned, we got to Serpent Shrine, and mid raid you had stopped, and then you were gone for a bit, and ever since then you've been on and off, playing, and then just casually, and then you enter a raid, and you take a break, and it's been on and off. Uh, you have a family. Was that the main reason why you were pressed for time, where you were here then not there?
I think a lot of it, especially in the earlier expansions, I was still a kid. I was 16 when I started playing with you guys, and then I enlisted right out of high school, so I kind of stopped playing in Wrath for a bit. Came back at the end in a little bit of Cataclysm, and then I was playing again, and I tried to get back into it, but I just had a shitty computer, and like it would just burn up, and then I ended up burning out the motherboard and
Oh,
losing
really?
the computer for a while. And then I ended up getting a PlayStation 4, and that kind of was like I couldn't really justify getting myself a computer at that time, but now things are kind of bit together, and I got my life together, and my kids are you know fairly all right by themselves doing kid stuff. I can have more time for gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hopefully, mine will one day become self-sufficient enough where I could do a little bit more. How old are your kids?
My kids are 4 and 5. My oldest one is starting to go back in school here. Because of COVID, it's a little rough. He goes back, and he only goes 4 days a week. So
Okay. So you said your oldest is 4?
my oldest is 5. Sorry,
5. Okay.
youngest.
Was there ever a point in time where you had used another character on another server? Like, did you play with other guilds? Did you raid on any other servers?
Actually, I did server transfer off when Wrath of the Lich King first started, and there was the Death Knight, so you got like the bonus level. You didn't have to level all the way up, and I actually played on Shattered Hand for a bit. I can't remember any of the guilds. It was not a very good experience. I ended up coming back to Ravenhold just because it was what I knew.
All right. What about it? It was just the people, the raid at the time, the structure.
I think it was a little bit of both. I really caught the tail end of it, so like I was trying to level up my character and get into stuff. So my item level was a little bit lower, and people were always like, "Well, that's not good enough to be in this and or that." And it was like, "Well, if you were beginning that raid, it would be." But people doing the Lich King don't want people at lower DPS levels when they're just starting.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, thankfully, the flex system allows people to come in for some early bosses, and then, hey, sorry, it was fun, but you're not ready for the back end of the raid. So, but you'll get there, that kind of thing. Um, what what do you think? What were your thoughts, rather, of the current raid, Castronathria? Were you able to experience the whole thing?
I did manage to get AOTC, so I was pretty happy about that. I think there's plenty of time for anybody who wants to do it all to do it. This is, I think they're planning sometime in the summer for the next tier to come out. So it's like 6, 7 months of trying to do whatever you want to do, I guess.
Yeah, it is. This wait time is absolutely brutal. I don't get it, but sure, there's good reasons, and I just hope it's that much better when it does come out. You have a Death Knight that you've been using fairly frequently. Uh, what i- what is his name, and where does that one come from?
I hate obscene chat filters. I think in video games, most people who play video games are old enough to understand that you're an adult. So I named my Death Knight Labia Minoris, and that was just a joke name to get people going.
I'm surprised it has lasted as long as it has. Okay, and you got a shout out from our officer Medier. Hey Medier, how you doing? Have you been enjoying that as much as your warrior, or it's warrior all the way for the next one?
I prefer to play my warrior, but the Death Knight is definitely stronger at a baseline. They just have more utility spells, and having a battle res and a rate cooldown, and their covenant choices are a bit better. But yeah, I still like my warrior a lot.
Okay. So your warrior is going to be what you're going to charge into for domination.
More than likely, yes.
Okay. You also said that you enlisted out of high school. Does that mean you were in the military? If so, what branch?
I was in the army for a bit. I ended up being in for about a year, and then I was in an accident. I got hurt, and I
Oh
ended up
boy,
getting a medical discharge. So I ended up coming back with a bunch of money in my pocket, and I didn't spend it wisely, but
you were
it was
young,
still nice to have. Yeah, yeah. Choices you could do again,
right? But even if only for a brief moment, thank you for your service. I'm sure you would have done a great deal for this country had it not been for the accident. Uh, whatever happened to you at the time, are you okay now? Are you fully healed? Do you still have a disability from it? Or,
Yeah, my leg was jacked up for a while. I couldn't walk right, but it's probably been about 8, 9 years now. And I mean, I'm a blacksmith full time, so like I still go outside and I do a lot of stuff. So
do you Titan forge your gear?
I really try to. Adding sockets is just it's terrible.
Well, we got to teach your wife how to be a jewel crafter, and then she can help you with that. Speaking of that, Kessik here has a sells knives on the Etsy store. What what made you decide to get into that?
Well, I really wanted to do something unique for my father and my father-in-law for Christmas one year. And I was my father-in-law is a carpenter. My dad's very much like a hands-on, do-it-yourself kind of guy. So I really wanted to pick up some skills that I could give them a gift that they would appreciate. And it just kind of I did the knives and like it caught on like a fever. I just wanted to do more and more and more. And eventually, I got to the point where I started wanting to sell them. And I found Etsy online, and I just go on there and I list my stuff, and people buy it.
Where'd you learn those skills?
They're kind of family skills have been passed down. My grandfather worked in a factory, and he was very much into wood making stuff. We used to spend a lot of time down there, and he would make us all sorts of things like wooden rifles and swords and stuff like that. So I always kind of had like an attraction to like fantasy and that kind of stuff. So I thought, that'd be a great thing to do. Is now I get to make swords and knives and all sorts of stuff.
Okay. I took a look at the page and I see some of your knives. Uh, A, can you make swords? And B, uh, do you also take custom orders, or is the selection on the page what you see is what you get?
I do custom orders. I like doing custom orders, but they add a lot more stress because like it's always is it good enough? Is it exactly what that person wants? I do swords and axes and knives and stuff, but the larger stuff is more difficult to do in the setup that I have currently, so I kind of stick more to the knives.
Okay. You have to set aside a lot of room for your anvil, your forge, and all that stuff, and make sure that a 5-year-old can't get access to it. So I imagine you always have to say to your wife, "Okay, I'm gonna go, make a knife. Make sure the kids don't come in."
Yeah,
Us.
that's definitely the struggle. Is it's all outside, and I work out in the open outdoors. Like I have a little hut with a roof over it to keep my stuff dry. But yeah, it's definitely 2,000-degree metal is not something you want kids playing around.
Yeah, definitely not. How long have you been doing that?
Probably about 4 years now. I started in 2016.
Okay. If somehow you got your hands on either more space or more equipment, what else would you like to add to your arsenal, so to speak?
Always more tools. You can never have enough tools. You always find something that you need, and a lot of times as a blacksmith, you have to make what you need. It's always for a specific job that you just won't find in your local hardware store. You have to make it. So it's always something.
Okay. And of course, that begs the question, since you have these uh, talents in real life and you also profit off of it, does any of your characters have the skill in the game?
I am a blacksmith on my warrior. It just makes sense as a warrior to be a blacksmith. If you're going to swing swords around, you better learn how to make a sword.
There you go. And of course, I'm sure you wish that in real life, once you actually got your skills the way it is, you could just press a button. All right, here's your knife.
Yeah, I mean, Craft 99 would be a wonderful talent to have. Just
I
crank them
can
all out in a
imagine.
couple minutes.
How, once you make and shape the metal, how many are you able to make at a time? Like, can you
Usually
take
it's like
one ingot, make a plate, and then cut it into enough metal for like 5 knives at a time, or you can only smelt enough for one at a time?
I don't particularly smelt my own metal. That's a very, very long and involved process. I usually
Okay.
buy it in either square stock or round stock, and then I cut it to length, and then I hammer it to whatever shape I want it to
Okay.
be. Um, Basically, it takes me about 4 or 5 hours to start to finish to get the raw metal product into a knife shape, and then from there, it's another 6 7 hours to put a handle on it, get it sharpened, dress it up.
All right. Well, I definitely wish I had those skills, but unfortunately, A, I would not have the space around here, and B, I could not trust my daughter around that stuff. She emulates us enough. So the fact that you're able to pull this off, definitely kudos to you. So do you have any thoughts to share about the upcoming raid?
Yep, I'm an avid forum follower, and I heard that paladins are getting a 50% nerf to armor and healing, and warriors are going to be the new meta.
Cool. So once we find out if this is true or not, you're gonna take my place.
No, I'm sorry, I don't tank. That's a healer problem.
No. Well, if I'm getting that much of a nerf, then I'll just have to I'll record the raids and that's it. I'll be sitting in the sidelines. So a shout out to everybody from the guild, Universal Order, everybody watching. Once again, this is Kessik, a warrior, and a shout out to all the people from the multitudes of servers that are connected to us: Ravenhold, Twisting Nether, Lightning Huff, Maelstrom, Ventrico. And it's been an absolute joy. I really wish I could see you make a knife. Have you recorded yourself doing it and put it up anywhere?
I would like to, but my current setup, I would need somebody to either hold a camera or find somewhere I can put a tripod where it's not going to get wrecked.
Okay.
And that's the challenge right now because I use an outdoor coal forge, so there's like all sorts of sparks and stuff going around. I'm not sure how well that would do with electronics, but it is something I would like to do eventually.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting thing. Kessik Knives is the site on Etsy for his knives. Feel free to check it out. And hopefully your business is thriving. Hopefully it continues to.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. If anybody is interested in ordering from my store, please contact me directly in game. It's Kessik Ravenhold. You can get a free coupon for shipping.
Oh, there you go. A discount on the show. So that is Kessik, Kessik, as is in the title. Well, again, I do appreciate your time. Kudos to your family, and uh, a shout out to them for not jumping out in front of the camera, even though they could have said hi. But thank you very much for agreeing to do this. I appreciate your time. And anybody out there that would like to do this, my name is Eldoris. Feel free to send a message, leave a comment, leave a message in the chat. Any way to contact me, feel free. I would love to interview you. I will continue to interview people in the guild and would love to hear from people outside of it as well. So, this is Kessik. I am the Bronx Paladin. Thank you for your time, and until next time.
Thanks, man.